قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to our Sunday edition of Ask Zad that comes to you approximately about 4 o'clock Mecca region time. As usual, we begin with your questions directly. So Muhammad Sultan from the States. Muhammad Sultan. Okay. Aftab from India.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, my question is that my parents want to name their daughter Kulthum, but due to poor Arabic knowledge, they did aqiqah on Kulthum. So what should we do to rectify this error, Sheikh?
Okay, I will answer inshallah. And we have Shihab from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
So, Sheikh, there is a guy, when he needs any fiqhi masala or fatwa, he searches it on the YouTube, goes to different website and checks different opinion and try to sometimes check their evidence. And mostly when he is convinced with some opinion, he follows it. And he says that he don't follows the opinion which is convenient to him, rather he tries to follow the authentic one. So is this the right way?
Does he have any knowledge?
No, he's a layman.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Layla from Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah, Sheikh.
Salam wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, my question is that what's the rolling on splashes which comes back on the body while answering the call of nature, and what if one could not remember that where splashes were on the body when it comes outside? So what's the rolling on it?
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Sajid from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, in our country, many Mawlanas and Imams are involved in palm reading as a means of ruqyah. My sister went to such a Mawlana for a ruqyah session. He could tell rightly about some past events of my sister. I know that jinns can inform people, but my question is that if jinns inform such ruqyahs, why they tend to see palms of the patients? What is that here?
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How are you?
Salamullah. Alhamdulillah. Hayyakum Allah.
Yeah, Sheikh, there is a girl, she had a boyfriend, okay, and so her guardian, her parents are dead. Her guardian, the real uncle, he wanted her to get married forcibly, like she didn't want to marry that guy. So the girl, she ran away with the boyfriend and she got married without the real uncle's, consent. And then the real uncle and all the family members, the elders, they have said that we don't want to see her. She comes and she says sorry, but they don't want to see her. They say that you have committed zina and you have crossed the limits of Allah, so you are dead for us. And so they severed the ties of kinship. My question is that, is it allowed, even if she did zina or even if she didn't? We don't know because there isn't any 4 witnesses to see the zina or whatever. Anyhow, so is it allowed to sever the ties of kinship if she did zina or even if she didn't? That's my question.
Where was that, ya Ahmed?
When was that?
Where?
It was in Pakistan.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Sami from the US.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh.
Alaikum
How are you?
assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm doing well, jazakallah khair. What about yourself?
Alhamdulillah. So, Sheikh, the question is, we operate a trucking business in the United States, and we obviously have truck drivers. So, when we find loads for the truck drivers, we negotiate the price with the brokers. Is it permissible for us to show the drivers as let's say from point A to point B, the truckload rate is $1,000, to show them as $1,000, but we negotiate the prices $1,200. On top of $1,000 that we show to the driver, we also charge 16% for our fees, and then and the money that is kept out of $1,200, which is $200, we reuse for the driver for the upcoming weeks if the week is slow. Is that permissible?
First of all, is the driver a freelancer or on your payroll?
We have different types of drivers. We have drivers that work for us for 60 cents a mile, and we have lease drivers that we just charge them 16%.
Okay, so what does it make? What difference does it make if you tell them that I'm gonna pay you $1,000 or $2,000 or $100? Because this is negotiation. You're the owner of the truck.
Yes.
Or you're just the provider of the job.
The thing is, some weeks they are very slow, no loads at all, and then we just give that money as a bonus or add to their next payroll.
Yeah,
so
but
in order to keep the balance and the relationship with the business.
So I still this needs a lot of clarification, Sami. I'm afraid that I have to speak to you more and more about this just to know the nature of the job and the relationship between the driver and yourself. And I'll come to mention this inshallah in the answer bi'idhnillah. Bakr from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah.
Yes, I wanted to ask about books that speak upon the Quran and Hadith and have little excerpts from the Quran in them. Are we allowed to touch them without wudu?
Okay. And we have Yusuf from the Netherlands.
Bro, I have two questions, bro. My past time.
Yusuf.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
How to stop bad habits?
By not doing them. Be specific, Yusuf. What do you mean by how do you stop bad habits? Don't do them.
But if it's hard, how to stop it?
How would I know? What kind of bad habits?
For example, look at women.
Okay. And Muhammad from Kuwait. Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
So, Sheikh, when I went to the Bakala, I bought something and I had, he gave me half KD and I had to give him 20 fills more. So at that time, I didn't have 20 fills. So he told me, whenever you want, you give me the 20 fills. You don't have to give it me now. So am I sinful if I don't give it quickly?
Do you have it or not?
No, now I give. But if I didn't give him quickly, would I be sinful?
Okay, I will answer inshallah. And Muhammad, no, we've done Muhammad. Arbab from India?
Yes.
Yes, Arbab.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Can I speak in Urdu or I have to speak in English?
You can speak in Urdu, but I do not know a word of it except Pani and Shukriye.
You can speak in Urdu. Okay. So my masala is this: I have a question that there has been a quarrel in husband and wife, and husband said to his wife that I am giving you divorce, he said, I am giving you divorce 2 times. Anti Taliban, and he meant that he is giving it twice. Then he said the same thing to his father-in-law, that I am giving talaq to your daughter twice, anti Taliban. And so I want to know that how many talaqs has been applicable on this.
Where did this take place?
In India.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Salma from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah barakatuh.
Sheikh, whenever I make wudu and I go to pray, at the end of the salah or in the middle of it, my prayer breaks. Most times I break my wudu, but sometimes it doesn't happen. So should I make the wudu again or say the salah?
Salma, it doesn't make sense. Either you break your wudu, then you have to go and make wudu and pray again. Or you don't break your wudu, then your prayer is valid.
I meant to say in every prayer it happens, almost.
Okay, is it due to gas or to urine incontinence?
Gas problem. Though I didn't consult any doctor yet, but I think I have gas problem.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Muhammad from Australia.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. I have a question. I want to buy a taxi and I want to give it rent. I will hire drivers and I will give them, for example, $500 a week. And driver, after a week, doesn't matter how much he's earning, $2,000 a week or $500 a week, he has to pay me as a rent $500. My question is, if in a non-Muslim country like Australia, a driver can pick up anyone from the road and drop anywhere from point to point. It can be he can drop to a bar, alcohol shop, or a mosque, anywhere. So, if he's doing anything actually, who is carrying alcohol or I don't know. So, but I will give my taxi and I will get a rent.
I will answer inshallah. Abdul Salam from Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
Sheikh, the rule of thumb is that if one doesn't know a lot, doesn't have a lot of knowledge, so that guy or woman should follow one of the school of thoughts from before, right?
No.
So, but it is better for a Muslim to strive and gain more knowledge. What I'm trying to say is research about hadith, which is basically the second most authentic way of gaining knowledge. So, how would you recommend for a person who's currently following one school of thought and is trying to look into the hadith, like the hadith books and etc.?
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Salihin from Canada.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah.
Sheikh, my question is, my employer has made the vaccine mandatory, and I believe that the vaccine is harmful. I have a good reason to believe that. So if they fire me or give me a layoff due to not taking the vaccine, is it permissible for me to sue them for compensation? And how much can I sue them for? Please.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. And Muhammad from the UK.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Me and my wife took study loan from an EU country without knowing it has riba. And we repented and have sharp remorse. And my wife couldn't finish the study as a pharmacist because in traineeship, she needs to take off her niqab. And I plan to pay the loan gradually, but recently I got to know I have cancer in advanced stage. And I am sick and I can't work right now. And family runs by the state benefit. Now the question is, if my wife or me, I want to pay back her loan as soon as possible. She need to work, which required to take off a niqab. What to do in this situation, Sheikh? Jazakallah khair.
What happens if she doesn't work and pay off her loan?
Then we have to pay like slowly. It's maybe will take a couple of years, several years, maybe small amount, maybe.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. And Abu Abdurrahman from Italy.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Said, okay, me, I did something, I want to know whether it's sinful or not. My brother, the same father, he told me that he want to marry a second wife, and I advised him that no, don't marry a second wife. As right now, your earning is too small. It's we who help you to go with life with your family and student school fees. So, and alhamdulillah, through my advice, he stopped and he don't marry a second wife. Am I single for that one?
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Umar from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu
I see you're doing good.
Yes, Umar.
Yes, Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're doing good. Sheikh, I had a question regarding black magic. If someone is afflicted with black magic and he's doing the regular things that she do, for example, he's eating 7 Azwa dates and in the evening and morning atkar. So what other suggestions do you have for the person? And another thing is hijama recommended for getting rid of black magic? Sorry.
Okay. Signi from Turkey. Signi or sign. Muhammad from the Emirates.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, the masjid I go for Jumu'ah, the Muazzin gives the adhan for the first adhan. That is the same time of Dhuhr. After he finishes, everyone prays 2 rakat. And after some time, the Imam comes and he also prays. And then he goes to the member and he says salam, then one more adhan. Then he gives the sermon. So what should I do? Is there any prayer in between?
Okay, I will answer inshallah. And Zadid from Bangladesh. Zadid. Abu Hamza from Egypt. Abu Hamza.
Yes, Sheikh.
Yes, Akhi, تفضل.
Hello. Sheikh, I had a question about death in Islam. I read somewhere that pious Muslim believers, when they die a peaceful, calm death, while the disbelievers' death is often cruel and the angels hit them and so. So why did the Prophet agonize too much to the point that he was passing out between now and then?
Okay, I will answer you inshallah. We have a short break. Stay tuned, and inshallah, we'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to talk about the book Interactions of the Greatest Leader. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us through his guidance and example that Islam is complete submission to the will of Allah. For one who submits, a mere declaration or display of belief will not be taken for success, but his or her heart and soul will certainly be put to test. Allah tested the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam severely in order that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam becomes an example for his companions to follow. Similarly, he tests the believer to see whether he lives a righteous life in accordance with the instructions and commands set by Allah, or lives according to what his desires dictate. whether the faith he displays is firmly rooted in his heart or is it merely on the surface. He will be tested to see whether he will continue to have faith and love of Allah when in a calamity as he does when in comfort, whether he will continue to remember and worship him if given bounties and comforts of life as he does when he lives a modest life. Allah will undoubtedly test him to see if his faith, trust and love of him is unconditional or is it conditioned upon good health and a comfortable life free from stress and anxiety. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed us through his own example that for a righteous Muslim, this life is a testing ground where he will continue to be tested until he meets Allah. For him, tests will be conducted on earth while he lives, and not after he dies. He knows that as soon as death arrives and he steps into the next world, his tests are over. There, he only receives the result of his tests and enjoys the fruits of the deeds that he committed during a short span of time called life.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and welcome back. Aftab from India says that a child's aqiqah, which is slaughtered usually on the 7th day of his birth, they made a mistake in the name. So the name is Kalthum, as one of the Prophet's daughters, may Allah be pleased with her, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And instead of saying Kalthum, they said Ummi Kalthum. And this is a grammatical mistake. Ummu Kalthum, Umma Kalthum, Ummi Kalthum. These are vowels that change according to the position of the name in a sentence, whether it's an object or a subject or a mubtada, etc. Many things. So the name is the name. And even if they made a mistake in the name, the intention is in the heart. So they intended this slaughter of the sheep to be a sacrifice for the newborn child, whether it's Kalthum or Aisha or Maryam or whatever name it is. If they made a mistake, it doesn't make any problem, and the aqiqah is valid and the name is valid as well. Shihab from Bangladesh, he says there's a layman, and this layman, whenever he hears a fatwa, he searches online and he tries to verify whether the fatwa is valid or not, and he reads many different sources and come up with a conclusion. Now, Shihab is asking, is this way or this method valid for a layman? And I think there was a question somewhere about from Abdus Salam from Pakistan about a layman who is following one school of thought. How should he do when it comes to following the hadith and the Quran? Well, a layman by definition is someone who does not possess the ability to differentiate between views. So someone who does not know the difference between a verse of the Quran and a hadith. And there are people like this. There are even Arabs like this. I remember speaking with one brother who's a Saudi, he's in mid-50s. He was sort of a liberal, doesn't like anything to do with Islam. And he's a local. And in the heat of the argument, he said, Ya akhi, how dare you judge intentions? Allah, the Almighty, in the Quran says, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Verily, that deeds are dependent on the intentions. I said, MashaAllah, Allah said this in the Quran. He said, yes. I said, where? He said, I don't know, but it's in the Quran. I said, it's the hadith. And the guy said, is it? Well, hadith, Quran is all the same, subhanAllah. So this type of layman is not qualified to look into different sources of fatwa and pick whatever he thinks is most authentic, simply because he's not qualified. He doesn't have the necessary basic knowledge. But if he is someone of intellect and he fears Allah Azza wa Jal, so he's not cherry picking, he's actually looking for what is more reliable, and he relies on reliable websites such as IslamQA.info, for example, and he has the analytical mind to figure out which is right and which is wrong, maybe this can be accepted. But generally speaking, no. Many times people come to me and say, Sheikh, I did this and this and this. And I said, why? He said, well, I thought that that was the most authentic opinion because I looked into Islam Web, Islam Q&A, I looked into here and there, and this is what came to my mind. I said, Akhi, this is not a game to play. If you are a student of knowledge, if you have possession of tools and sciences of Islamic knowledge, yeah, you can do that. Otherwise, you have to ask before you do such things. Layla from Pakistan says, what do we do when we get sprinkles from answering the call of nature and we feel? There is a difference between actual ricochet, if you may say, that comes from impurities to your thighs, to your body, to your back, and if it's actually happening. A feeling is different than what actually happens. Feelings are not certainty. And if I have a feeling that this has a drop of urine on it, I can't see it, I can't smell it, how do I claim that this is impure just because of a feeling? No, this doesn't work like that. Likewise, when a person defecates or urinates and he feels that there are splashes, can he see them? Can he touch and feel them? If the answer is yes, then he has to wash it off. If the answer is no, then this is from shaitan. Some people come to me and say, Sheikh, while sitting on the toilet seat, urinating, I feel that there are wetness in the back of my head. I said, this even defies physics. If you hold something like this pen and the distance between it and the surface of the water and you drop it, would the drop reach the place it was dropped from, or it would exceed it? I don't know. I'm very bad in physics. But logically, it can't reach this high when it freely flows or freely falls on a surface of the water. To go that high up, we can generate energy because we're not using anything except gravity, and gravity cannot push up, it pulls down. So you have to be certain in order to implement the rule of washing it off. Otherwise, the rule remains, certainty is not affected by doubt. Sajid from Bangladesh, he said a question, I'm not sure I understood it correctly. He was talking about an imam who does ruqya and he looks at the palm of the hand. And it seems that he's reading the palm of the hand. I cannot elaborate because I don't know the case. If the imam, and this is a big IF, if this person is reading the palm of the hand, he's a soothsayer. He's an impostor, he's not an imam. He is involved in shirk and you must not believe him or go to him. But if he's reciting the ruqya and he's looking for physical signs such as shivering or increase of temperature, etc., something that is physical, and he's holding the hand of another man, He's not permitted to hold the hand of a woman, for example. Maybe this can be justifiable, but I cannot comment on something that I don't have enough information about. Ahmed, she says that there is this girl in India whom her uncle tried to forcefully get her married. And we all know that this is totally prohibited and the marriage is invalid. The uncle has no power. The brother has no power. Her son has no power in forcing her to get married to anyone. So when everybody in the family stood against her, she ran away with her ex-boyfriend or with her current boyfriend, I don't know, and they got married. And now she's disowned by the whole family. None of them want to see her. They're accusing her of zina. And Ahmed says, are they allowed to accuse her of zina when they don't have any evidence? First of all, what she had done is wrong. Running away and marrying someone against the will of her family, her guardian, is definitely prohibited and the marriage is invalid. But due to the fact that they are in India, which is a predominantly Hanafi country, the law there allows a woman to marry against, or let me rephrase that, it allows a woman to marry without a guardian. And if she's a devout Hanafi follower and her husband is a devout Hanafi follower and they were not involved in any premarital sexual intercourse, and they got married in an Islamic court or an Islamic center, then the marriage is valid. Secondly, can they accuse her of zina? The answer is no. And accusing her of zina requires 4 male witnesses graphically describing what they had seen of a sexual intercourse taking place. But if they accuse her of this on the account that they believed that the marriage contract was invalid, so their marriage is invalid and they're living in a state of zina, this might be a dubious area that each one has his own opinion and view of it. She must try her level best to rectify this issue and try to explain to them if she can. If she cannot, then may Allah make things easy for her. Sami from the US, the relationship, Sami, between me and someone that works for me, he's either a partner in a transaction. So someone comes to me and he says, Akhi, I'd like you to deliver this mug to Las Vegas and I'll give you $10,000. I said, okay. I go to a truck driver. He has his own truck. He's a freelancer. And I say, listen, I've got a deal for you. I'd like you to take this cup, this mug, to Las Vegas for $500. Any problem? No problem. He has the free will to say yes or no. He doesn't work for me. He's a freelance. I'm not obliged to tell him that I'm charging $10,000. So there's no problem in that. He can be a partner. And in partnerships, there has to be transparency. So he has to know exactly how much I'm making out of it, what are my expenses, and what is his share. He can be an employee of mine. So he's on my payroll. I give him $3,500 a month in order to work approximately like maybe 55 or 60 hours a week. And if he does this, everything is fine. If he does more, I give him bonus, I give him overtime, whatever. I don't have to tell him that I'm charging $10,000 or $1 for this mug. He has to work and do that. So in order for us to understand the relationship, first we have to understand what is the relationship between me and this person working for me. And after understanding, I can tell you whether you can disclose or conceal how much you're getting for this transaction from a broker or from the same person that needs this transportation. Bakr from Saudi Arabia says that if we have books like books of hadith, books of fiqh that include verses of the Quran or maybe surahs of the Quran, must we be in the state of wudu, ablution, when we touch these books? The answer is no. You can touch them without a problem. Yunus from Holland, he says, how can we stop bad habits? And you stop bad habits by not doing them. And specifically, how can we stop looking at women, not lowering our gaze? First of all, by learning the beautiful names of Allah. This gives you background to who Allah Azza wa Jal is, and it helps you strongly in fighting such bad habits. Secondly, cut all means that facilitate it. So most likely you're not sitting on a cafe in Amsterdam drinking cappuccino and watching the people walking by, because it's expensive to pay 3 or 4 euros for, not 3, for 5 or 8 or maybe 10 euros for a cappuccino. What is this? Go and migrate to a Muslim country. It's much cheaper. You are most likely involved in watching haram stuff on your mobile phone, on your PDA, on your iPad, on your TV screens. So you have to cut these means. Throw your smartphone and get an old Nokia with no internet. And try to eliminate anything haram in your home. Make it public so that everybody can share it with you. If you were to be involved in seeing something haram, this would make you more bashful and shy from watching it. And so on. Don't free mix. Try your level best to lower your gaze. Don't socialize with the opposite gender. And try to get married as soon as possible. Muhammad from Kuwait. If the shop gave me change, or I paid the shop something and they gave me more change than I deserve, and I could not give them back the change due. And the shopkeeper says, keep it with you and bring it whenever you can. And I delayed paying him back. Instead of bringing it in the afternoon, I took 2 days to pay him back. Am I sinful? No, you're not sinful, because it was indefinite. But definitely, you were not doing the right thing, because if someone else did this to you, you would have become a bit angry. Why didn't he bring the money when he had the ability to do so? So it's always best to get rid of any debts on you and to exempt yourself from it. Arbab from India, issues of divorce must be resolved with the court in your country. You divorced in India. And in India, if you say 3 times to your wife, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you, they make this final divorce. Though Islamically it's only 1, but there is a difference of opinion among schools of thought. And whenever there is an Islamic Sharia practice in a country, we cannot cherry pick and say, no, I'm not going to the court here, I'm going to the court in Saudi, or I'm going to ask in Egypt, or I'm going to go to Jordan, because I know their fatwa suits me better. This is not permissible. Why do we ask? Because if they were residing in Saudi Arabia and they ask a question, we would have given them the fatwa according to what is implemented in the ifta here. But when someone from Pakistan or from India calls all the way, we cannot overrule their scholars and their Islamic courts by giving them a fatwa, especially when the in-laws, her father-in-law, is totally against it. You made his day. You divorced her twice, and then you went to him and you said to him, I divorced her twice. So in his mind, this is 4 times. And he doesn't want to give her back to you. You gave him a trophy by divorcing her 3 times. So when there is a dispute, it cannot be simply a fatwa that is given to you and then you start fighting with them and not giving them their daughter or claiming that the marriage is still valid when they are opposing that due to the law of the country, and Allah knows best. Salma, she says she has problems with gas incontinence. So she feels that her wudu is broken. Now with gas, either a person is certain 100% that he leaked gas and this breaks his wudu, or he has a feeling. The Prophet said, ﷺ, when you have a feeling that you broke your wudu, do not leave your prayer. Do not make wudu again unless you hear a sound or find a foul smell. This is certainty. But if it's just a feeling, if it's just movement in your stomach, this doesn't impact your wudu. Now, if Salma is definitely certain that her wudu is broken, then she has to make wudu again. If this is continuous, then she is ma'dhur. She is excused because this is a continuous breaking of the wudu and it's causing hardship to perform wudu 8, 9 times, and every time you start to pray, you break it and you perform wudu. No. You can easily be exempted from that by telling you make wudu once the adhan is done. And then you can pray the whole time until the time is over. Once the adhan of the following salat is called, if you broke your wudu within the duration, then you must make wudu again for that other prayer. Muhammad from Australia. He wants to buy a taxi. So if I bought a taxi and the taxi is for rent, and someone comes and says, listen, I'm willing to rent a taxi for $500 a week. Whether I make $1 a week or $1 million a week, it's none of your business. You're just hiring me or renting me your cabbie. Is it permissible? There's no problem in that. Is there any sin on me if he takes someone to a nightclub or to a brothel or to a church? No, there is nothing on you because you're renting him a vehicle, and where he goes or what he does with it, it's his business, and Allah knows best. And Salhin from Canada, his employer mandated and forced him either to get inoculated, to get the vaccine of the COVID-19, or he'll be fired. So he says, can I sue my employer, and for how much? The issue of suing is un-Islamic. Someone prepares green tea for me, and it is hot, boiling. So I don't know, I take a sip, and I'm burnt with it, scalded with it, and then it fell on me, and I go and sue them for damages, and I get $1 million. Is this halal? No, it's not. In Islam, you may be compensated for the damage that took place, actual damage. So if there's a fault in my car and I'll make a small accident, I can't sue them for $10 million. I can sue them to fix my car, to pay for any damages that my car did. That's probable and possible. So your employer has the right to fire you. I don't want you. I don't like how you look. I'm paying you. You come and work for me. If you decide to come in your shorts, and I tell you don't wear shorts to work, you have to wear a suit and a tie, and you don't, can I fire you? Yes, I can. So if I tell you to do something which I, as an employer, believe that it is for the safety of the community and for the employees, and you refuse, then you are on the wrong side of the rope. Having said that, it also depends on the laws of the country. If the laws of the country states that he's not allowed to fire you for such a thing, yeah, you may sue for damages, which is maybe a month or two salary, because if he's entitled, according to the laws of the country, to fire you, giving you a month or two head notice, in this case, he did not do anything wrong, except for firing you on the spot, so you're entitled for the month or two notice. Other than that, no, you're not allowed to sue him, because this money is haram money for you. It's a relationship between an employee and his employer. He doesn't like to employ you, he may sack you. You don't like the work environment, you may resign and leave. And the issue of not believing that the vaccine is good for you, this is your own opinion. But the whole humanity had already taken smallpox, polio, hepatitis, and all these things that we are given when we are children or infants even. And nobody's crying wolf. So how come when such an epidemic, it's not a pandemic, okay, I agree with you, but in such a disease that we've seen people and we know people that died because of it. And we've seen people who had taken the vaccine and nothing has changed in their lives. I'm one of them. I took the vaccine 6 months or 5 months ago, both shots, and nothing happened yet. I hope I don't die all of a sudden. But everybody's taking it. Everybody I know is taking it. And people keep on insisting, there's a conspiracy, there's a microchip in it. It will make you infertile. It will make you impotent. It will make you this and that. And everybody's taking it. So making an issue of it, maybe one should reassess. Muhammad from the UK, he is saying that he and his wife took student loans. Now to pay off his wife's student loans, they force her to work and take off the niqab. And I asked him, what happens if she doesn't work? He says they have to pay it on installments. Then pay it on installments. There's no justification, none whatsoever, for her to take off the niqab. And the student loans, to my knowledge, that if you work and earn a certain threshold or above, you're obliged to pay them back. If not, you are exempted from that. Abu Abdurrahman from Italy, his brother wanted to get a second wife and he advised him not to. So he took his advice and stopped his plans. Is he sinful for advising him not to take a second wife? The answer is no. If he's not in need and this is your opinion, then there's nothing wrong in your advice. Umar from Bangladesh, what else can we do to cure black magic? We do the adhkar in the morning, in the evening, after Fard Salah, before going to bed, before leaving the house. And we do the ruqya. What else is there to be done? Nothing. Just you may add dua in all sujoods you make in prayer that Allah cures your affected individual with black magic and to restore his health back again. But other than that, there is nothing you could do. Muhammad from the Emirates, he noticed that between the first adhan and the second adhan, the people stand up to pray, which they call sunnah. And not only that, even the imam himself, when he comes, he prays this, what is called sunnah. These people don't know, akhi. There is no sunnah, prescribed sunnah, before Jumu'ah prayer. And we've said this so many times. The sunnah before the prayer is only for dhuhr. And in Jum'ah, we're exempted from that. There is general voluntary nafil, which is not related to the first adhan or the second adhan. It's related to whenever you come to the masjid, you pray as many rak'ahs as you wish, 4, 6, 10, 20, 50, up to you. And when the imam says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, you sit and listen to the khutbah. So what they're doing is definitely wrong and it is baseless. Abu Hamza from Egypt, he has a confusion. And he says that we know from the hadith of Al-Bara ibn Azib, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father, that the angels of death takes the soul of a believer as a drop falling from a water container, a skin water container, very smoothly and very lightly. This is how they take the soul. While the soul of a disbeliever is taken as if an iron rod with thorns and pricks is snatched from a wet piece of wool. Imagine how every centimeter, every inch it is taken away, it tears something. So he's saying that my confusion is, we know from the seerah that the Prophet ﷺ suffered pain and agony on his last hours and last moments. So how can we reconcile? Akhi, you have to have full faith that the hadith is authentic. You have to have full faith that the Prophet is the messenger of Allah Azza wa Jal. But you have to understand the context and the different ahadith and combine them all. The hadith of Al-Bara ibn Azib is talking about the soul coming out of the body and the ease and the peace it comes out with, not the prior pains that a person or individual may suffer for a week or two or a year or two or whatever. This is separate from the dying process. The dying or the actual soul being extracted is the one that is mentioned in hadith of Al-Bara ibn Azib. Therefore, we could find disbelievers on their dying bed with a big smile on their faces. And they say to everybody, okay, I'm leaving. I leave you in peace. Take care. Bye. And he passes away. And we say, wow, what a beautiful death. Not knowing, because this is from the unseen, that the moment he looked to be dead, this is when the death angels took his soul, tortured it from every single inch of his body, and it was painful as hell. This is different from the death of a believer who was suffering from cancer or from illness, and he was tired and he was in pain. But when the time for his soul to be extracted, it comes out in a peaceful fashion and manner. And I hope this answers your question. This is all the time we have until we meet next week on Saturday after Maghrib prayer in Mecca. I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين